So those of you that have been around for a while on my channel might recall that I have felines. I keep them around the house, and I like cats. I like having cats. I've had cats my entire life. I consider myself to be somewhat of a cat person, although I do have a dog as well, and he's super awesome. But I think my cats are exceptional in a number of ways. But the number one way in which they are the most exceptional is that they are the most exceptional assholes that you would ever have live inside your house. Like, seriously, I'm pretty sure if my cats pulled the shit that they pull with me with any other owner, they would be out on the street. But I compiled a short list for all of you as to why my cat is more than likely the biggest asshole on the planet. So without further ado, a short list of reasons why I think my cat is a bigger asshole than your cat, and why I think he might be abusive, and why I think he might be ruining my life. Point number one. He looks at me while he poops. Like, let's get one thing straight. It should be flat out illegal by the laws of nature to make eye contact with anybody or anything while you cast off the processed essence of last night's burrito. This is a fact that I've been campaigning after for a very, very long time. Nobody ever really seems to take me seriously, and maybe it's because my proposal involves muck sausage. Maybe it's because focusing your political efforts on the wobbly-legged Wonka is ultimately damaging to your long-term aspirations and appearances in office. But nonetheless, I continue to press that claim that looking at anybody while they push and pray gives you way too much insight into the contents of their soul. That's why it's particularly upsetting when my cat decides to fix me with a dead-eyed stare while he decides to hunch out lunch 5 feet from my desk. Maybe it's the disrespect of the whole thing. Maybe it's an unabashed sign of his love for me, and I suppose you could make the argument that maybe it's just natural by some weird stretch, but at the end of the day, it sets me off in a weird primal way. Normally, there's like a glint of being inside his tiny little yellow eyes, but like when he's baking up baby booty brownies, there is nothing there. It's like staring into the eyes of a shark or a 12-year-old playing on Xbox Live. All semblance of a soul is gone. He steals my pillow. Every night, my cat and I, we engage in a game that we like to lovingly call Fuck You, It's My Pillow, Go Die. And unfortunately, my record in this particular Olympic event is less than stellar. By less than stellar, I mean to say that I have never won this diversion. And that's probably due to the fact that I'm unconscious whenever it takes place. See, my cat has developed an unhealthy addiction to my pillow. He likes to lay on it, he likes to caress it, rub his face on it. He occasionally loves it amorously and vigorously, which is actually kind of impressive given his age. We'll talk about that a little bit later, maybe. I don't know if I have the spirit for it right now. It might just cause me to break down into tears. But frankly, all of these activities have led to some unhealthy attachments and behavioral sets on the part of my cat. The general phases of the game, Fuck You, It's My Pillow, Go Die, proceed kind of like this. I will lay down on the bed. I will then hear ka-thump about 5 minutes later as his massive, colossal, orange, moon-like, unemployed Tony the Tiger-looking ass makes contact with the comforter. He lays down adjacent to my pillow. I curl the pillow into an elongate letter C and then tuck it underneath my body as tightly as possible and then do my best to conceal my face because he's not above going after it. He will then slowly move centimeter by centimeter towards me, slowly edging his pudgy puddle-having elbows onto any uncovered part of the pillow. That's why it's important that I fold it up underneath me. And if I attempt to retract the pillow from underneath his elbow at any point, he will set into a cacophonous salvo of feline yowling and grumbling that will inevitably wake up my wife and get us both in trouble. Usually, it's just best to let his elbow have it. Just let it go. He'll start purring at that point, and somehow he's crafted his rumbles into the audio equivalent of ear Ambien. So sometime around now, I'll fall asleep at this point in the game. And then when I wake up the next morning, I'll be using my arm as a pillow, and he'll be looking at me from atop my mountainous, amazing pillow like a conquering hero with this just shit-eating I won look on his face. And that's how I wake up every morning for years. And people wonder why my daily demeanor is so ridiculously unpleasant. He also tried to blind me while I was sleeping, so yeah, there's that little gem. Let me go ahead and fix you up with a little image here. Warning, warning, warning. You're not gonna like what you see here. It's not gonna be pleasant. I gave you a chance to turn the video away. Boom. That's my eyeball at 5 in the morning. If you inspect very, very closely, you might notice that it looks a bit like string cheese, which has had a nail drug down it. That's because it has. You see, this is the ultimate outcome of what happens when your cats impeach you as lord of your own manor. No longer of the proper landed title to run my own shit, these little shits have decided they get to do whatever they want, up to and including enforcing blindness on the hapless human peasantry under their watch. My cat is my own personal purring Chris Brown, and my soul is broken. Finally, he shits on my bed when he doesn't get fed on time. Now, I assume that most cats probably get moderately grumpy or, at the bare minimum, a little peevish when the kibble fails to fall from the celestial bag high on the shelf at the appropriated daily time. But my animals have taken restaurant complaints up to a whole new level of escalation. Like, they're not content with contacting management, for example, or downvoting me on Yelp, which I think is perfectly acceptable. I don't like stars that much anyways. But my cat has decided that the best recourse is that the best blanket in my house will now be covered with kitty-made cocoa concretions whenever he doesn't get his shreddies on time. Not only that, but he doesn't even have the decency to do it on top of the blanket. Although, let's take a sidebar here. I assume the point at which one being is shitting on another being's possessions in protest, I think that we might be well past decency's last turnpike. But that aside from the point, he doesn't have the decency to do it on top of the blanket. He will commando crawl down in between the fluffy sandwich layers of sleep and will honk out a slide mine, which I will then inevitably roll into at 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. Just let that roll through your brain for a second. You know, you're tired. You finished work. Maybe you were messing around playing video games, but you're exhausted. You worked today. You paid for the kibble. You made sure that all of your underlings would not starve. And then having rolled back the blanket, you smell something kind of funny, but you live in a house with 2 cats and a dog, so it's like, they all, between them, have like a rotation of farting and just making smells going on. So you stop worrying about it, you roll into bed, and then it hits you right on your thigh. That cold, sticky depression. Yeah, I think I might have to fight my cat. And I think I actually have a chance of losing. Help me.